What's up, fam? Welcome to TacticTalks. I'm Daniel, and if you're tuning in, you're already part of the crew that believes in moving with intention. Now, let me start with a confession. I almost didn't launch this podcast. Paralysis by analysis, you know? That nasty habit where your mind spins in circles, overthinking every detail. Psychologists call it analysis paralysis, and trust me, it's the silent killer of dreams. So, why did I finally hit record? Because I realized that waiting for the stars to align is just another way to avoid the discomfort of starting. Maybe you're nodding right now, thinking, yeah, that's me. Let me tell you, you don't need a perfect roadmap. You need momentum. There's a saying in software development, ship fast, iterate often. It means getting your idea out there, even if it's a little rough around the edges, and improving as you go. That's exactly what I'm doing here. So, if you've been waiting to start a project, a business, a conversation, let me be your sign. Start messy, start scared, just start. Because the only failure is standing still. Now, let's get tactical. What's one thing you've been putting off because it wasn't perfect? Jot it down. By the end of this episode, you'll know your first move. Let's clear something up. When you hear the word strategy, do you picture boardrooms, buzzwords, and corporate jargon? I used to too. But strategy isn't reserved for MBA grads and Fortune 500 execs. It's simply the art of making choices, and we do it every day. Ever heard of opportunity cost? It's an economics term, but here's the street version. Every yes is a no to something else. Choosing to listen to this podcast? That's a strategic decision. You're investing your time for growth. Now, you might be thinking, but Daniel, I'm not a business owner. Here's my challenge. Treat your daily routines like a CEO treats their company. Audit your habits, question your defaults, and make intentional swaps. It's the micro decisions that build your macro results. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine started blocking out 15 minutes every morning, not for email, but for what he called tactical silence. No distractions, just planning his top priorities. Within weeks, his productivity soared. Why? Because he stopped letting the urgent crowd out the important. So, here's your actionable. Identify one area where you're running on autopilot. Pause, recalibrate, make your next move on purpose. Let's get real about the biggest enemy in the room, self-doubt, the inner voice that whispers, who do you think you are? Psychologists call it the imposter syndrome, and it's not just you, it's all of us. I remember staring at my microphone thinking, is anyone even going to care? That's the confirmation bias at work. Your brain starts searching for reasons you'll fail, ignoring all evidence you might succeed. Now, you might be saying, Daniel, confidence is for other people, but let me flip that. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct of action. Each small win, each episode, each step forward builds your belief muscle. Here's a tactical exercise. Write down 3 things you've accomplished in the past month, big or small. Train your mind to spot progress, not just problems. It's the antidote to that negative self-talk. If you take nothing else from this segment, hear this. The loudest critic lives in your own head. Take the mic back. Let's talk about resilience. Not as a buzzword, as a survival tactic. Every journey has roadblocks. Mine included false starts, tech fails, and moments where quitting seemed easier. But here's what I learned. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward. The concept of feedback loops comes from engineering. Systems get stronger by learning from errors. In life, your feedback loop is your ability to analyze what went wrong, adjust, and go again. It's not failure, it's data. Now, you might be thinking, easier said than done. True, but let me tell you a story. I once released an episode with terrible audio quality. Instead of hiding, I asked listeners for feedback, fixed my setup, and came back stronger. Suddenly, people respected the transparency. Every setback contains the seeds of your next evolution. Don't run from mistakes, mine them for lessons. That's how you turn a breakdown into a breakthrough. So, your move. The next time you hit a wall, pause, ask, what's this teaching me? Then plot your comeback. That's real resilience. Ever notice how motivation fizzles out by Thursday? That's because willpower is a finite resource. Behavioral scientists call this ego depletion, like a phone battery that drains with every decision. So, what's the alternative? Systems. Think of them as guardrails that keep you on track when your motivation dips. For example, scheduling your hardest task when your energy is highest, that's time blocking, a method top performers swear by. Now, you might be wondering, How do I build a system? Start small. Identify a sticking point in your routine. Maybe it's scrolling social media before bed. Set a simple rule. Phone goes on airplane mode at 10 p.m., non-negotiable. Let me tell you a secret. Systems beat willpower every time. That's why elite athletes and CEOs automate their habits, they remove friction, so success becomes the default. Your actionable step. Pick one habit to automate this week. Make it easy, make it obvious, and watch your progress compound. As we close out this first episode, let's talk about what really moves the needle. Community, consistency, and courage. You're not meant to do this alone. In tech, there's a term open source, meaning everyone can contribute and improve the project. Why not treat your growth the same way? Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's inconvenient. That's what separates wishful thinking from real progress. Now, you might be thinking, what if I lose steam? That's where courage comes in. It's not the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. Here's my challenge. Find one person to share your goals with this week. Let them keep you accountable. When you stumble, don't hide. Reach out, recalibrate, and keep going. So, fam, this is your moment. You've got the blueprint. All that's left is to build. I'll be here every step of the way, plotting, planning, pushing forward with you.